Is Rinpoche can hear us?
Yes, yes.
On behalf of Drikung Seattle and the International Sangha, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you, Your Eminence Garchen Rinpoche. Drikung Seattle is the host of this weekend's event. So with many from around the world people, we feel so grateful and happy to be able to meet you online and to receive today the empowerment and tomorrow the Milarepa teaching. We know that in this difficult time of COVID, the world needs more prayers and supplication to Parnashavari and the wisdom of Milarepa more than ever. We look forward very much to today's empowerment, and would like to also welcome Campbell Subsong, who will be teaching again tomorrow, and Abulama will be lead as the practice, and the Parnashavari Sandana prepared by His Holiness Chacha Rinpoche. We also like to welcome all the Lamas, Annie Sampton, Annie Dagme, Christina, and the whole GBI team. We welcome also goes to all the translators, Ina, Susu, Sasha, Teresa. I wish the Sangha a wonderful time with our precious teacher, Garchen Rinpoche. Thank you, Rinpoche.
La. Oh my God, I can hardly hear you. Okay. The name. Tanda Seattle, the name Drikung Seattle, the name Zambolin Kasaka, Chutog Loma Tama, Tab Sene, Rinpoche, Nintapan name, Tashi Teleshuyo, Teni Tanda Gizerem de Drikung Seattle, Gotisik. The name Nayang Dangasol Zambolin Kasaka Loma, Tanda Rinpoche, and Jar Tupa, and so Bemase Gabo Jung, Gabo Yom, the name Taring Rinpoche Wang Nangyutang Sanin Milarepa Kikachi Nangitim, in Tapane Tutichi Shuayum. Teni Tengsan Gitula Lapper to Neam Gichapekabla, and Zambolin Lapper to Sosoba Mulam, the Logium Soba Mulam on Gogo Yorim, Teni Milarepa Kaching on Goya Yorim, Teni Tibet and Wang Nangi, Teni Sanin Kachin and Ting also Pega Wuchung, Teni Kempo Tupsan Yang Sani, Taro Moon Tune Kachin Ayari, Teni Abo Lamaki. Nyamle so theory tening and so logio bagi dubta nyamen siare ti kyangyo Rinpoche na yori teni tarong lama chama teni ani something ani tame Christina teni GPI la lega sinken chamala tashi tela shuayom teni kigyo chamala ina susu Sasha tang Teresa chamala Tashi Teleshuarim and Tinning answer Tanda Kiran Tama Tanati Kokap Taj and Botine, Givo Junior Revalues.
Maho.
Billy, I can hardly hear Rinpoche. Can you make sure the microphone is closer? It's extremely muffled. I don't think it's going to work really well.
Oh, yeah.
So at Dashitele met dear Dharma friends from all over the world. Today, hosted by the Seattle Center, we will have Parnashavari empowerment. And so generally we receive many empowerments, and an empowerment has a lot of meaning. And sorry, and I'm always explaining the meaning of this an empowerment whenever we receive one. Sorry, but so generally, the real meaning of the empowerment is to ripen that which is unripe, and that which is unripe is the minds of sentient beings. So for as long as sentient beings have not ripened or matured, they are bound to only experience suffering. So we call it the samsaric ocean of suffering. But when they mature, they become liberated from suffering. And then for their own purpose, they attain the kingdom of the Dharmakaya. And for the purpose of others, they continue to manifest in the 6 realms of samsara to benefit sentient beings there and help them mature into enlightenment. And so the empowerment, the secret mantra path is the supreme method to mature sentient beings. So the Buddha had taught 3 levels of the path, the Pratimoksha, Bodhisattva, and the Vajrayana vehicles. And among these, the Vajrayana path of secret mantra is called the swift path. And it is also said that the difference between the sutras and the tantras is the empowerment. So only in the secret mantra system of the Vajrayana do we have empowerment. Empowerment does not occur in the context of the sutra teachings. So again, the path of the secret mantra Vajrayana is a swift path of skillful means.
yang sem de yang sang sang ge sem de sang ge yang yin la de ba ya yo so de de ba ka de de ma ri ba ni so ma ri ba ni de sem la ge ne ru ma to ba de de to dang de ba de ge che ba ma shi de ku dog de ba ku dog le de cha ju cha la me shi de machine de no ba de ando jam de 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 강리들 다지 니선 통례들이 다소 지는 다소 지들이 다를 차를 들이 지는 당들이 차당니 손에 깨르시니 차당니가 뭐 되더니 그러나 첫 방문은 들이 제람이 들이 따로들이 쳐서 가도 전로고 쳐들어와 쳐도 배제해서 들이 말을 받으려 들이 콜레서 들이 제일 뉴몬바 독성들이 야자성성들이 뉴몬바 독차를 들이 로아를 좀 상다다 로아를 소소로 동네에 동네에 타와 요말 따뜻한 답을이나 무슨 동네 집아 최종 마도등이 진짜에 받는 연구 요나요 그 정상 답을이나 라포트들이 너가 하도 속치보다 정말 그 강의들 생물능과 속체 내 속치고상 그때야 저도 속치고 차음을 배대서는 너나더니 그동안 발라들이 다 레이저 찾아타와 마시를 그때는 데베 적하면 봐 마시 동행의 적하면 빵 마시 데베 적하면 봐 적 마시 그래서 다 사계의 대응 문제들이 토만이 되니 sentin tam치 데와 딱 데베 적하면 데버처지 som을 그래서 데 차와지요는 선들 데베 차와요 되게 적하면 이제 just 받아 진짜리 동네 저 차와 동네 저 차와 이제 또 나기 이제 차와 들이 준비를 마시는지 따뜻하지 마음속에 따뜻하다고 했는 거야. 동네 용나는 뒤들은 싸움 다야 요래. 들이 잡으려는 따다 동네 차상도 차만 남는 거요 말이. 그 용들이 작작할로 제발 요래 말을 제발 요래. 들이 또 용만한테 다라는 걸 내사 제 정말 레지다 말 흘러서 이송 대외를 자다다지 싹시 치웠던 jel지 다 동네 이제 머리 톱장들이 들어다버들이 동네 잡으려는 용을 방법이 오래 종님 말에 말아 동네에서 들어다버는 용을요 그래서 저는 놀들이 통왕랑 없고 통을 내좀 되는 없지 못되지 대신들이 내가 저 사적 생각 못되는 제일 제일 탑들이 레드들이 실리들이 내가 저 삼바는 이제 다지지 다지는 로든 더니 다지지 로든 semsam마차 sen지 쳤다면 이제 차는 돈다고 대봐 다지님에 봐 sem나 갔다가 차는 거리면은 들이 대하고들이 동네 매번 대화치 뭐지 저는 샘들아 라는 거 좋아하기는 동네 매번 대화치 뭐야 샘을 들어야 요 동네도 동네 이제 샘지네 저래 또 샘지 그래서 저기 좀 이제 그 랑그 샘이 없어 샘도 이제 저래 리더 말이야 샘 저래서 그 샘들은 동네도 다디 전도je 그때 사제가 좀 어떻게 되면서 같이 매파서는 다들 코와 토마 매파는 요변 더럽고 요 말이 그 제일서 동네인데 또 동네 차차지만 오 니가 니가 다디세 말이 다디네 뉴모 받을 뒤에 라는 민요레스 내가 좀 이제 정말 단지 내가 저하면 삼바의 신지리 되게 저 차와들이 내가 차라 탐지들이 내가 저 삼바의 니를 톱고 요리서 좀 내지만 가시치리 들이 두브리를 다들 람마노나 들이다 로마자르만 소마나지 레드브리를 기시지상성 다들 추산을 이제 가다는 좀 벌다서 이제 뭐가 그거는 송바에 제제들이 두브리 찾을 처와시 하고 우리 그래서 너무 제법 값을 다들 다 가려버리들 토마니니 너희들 속에 주성을 랑랑나 주성제 레리랑랑요 수주성 다디가 유용의 주성 대하고는 너희 자들이 다하고 저거요 대하고는 이해를 해요 말에 잡부리는데도 동행 거데 너희 민담이 제발요 너희 차원은 참념용으로 말에 그랬더니 좀비 자주 잡았다면 뒷상으로 양장도 동거를 해도 그러다
So the Buddha had said all beings are actually Buddhas, and beings are only obscured by adventitious stains. And adventitious stains are within the mind. So all beings are Buddhas is that all beings, the mind of all beings is actually Buddha. But also the Buddha said that even though they are Buddhas, they are obscured. Their minds are obscured. And what is it that obscures the mind? It is the two kinds of ignorance. It is the ultimate ignorance, which is to not realize one's true nature. And then it is the relative, so that's the ultimate obscuration. And the relative obscuration is not knowing the workings of karma, cause and effect, the subtle workings of karma. And so it depends, the reason why we do not recognize this begins with the ultimate obscuration, and that is the dualistic perception, the grasping at self and other. And so when we see ourselves in a dualistic way, then the self is most important, and we become attached to the self, and we develop an aversion against other. So the mind in its natural state is actually like clear water, but it has become tainted by thoughts of attachment and aversion, by dualistic thoughts. So it's like various substances were added to the water, and that changed its color temporarily. So the mind has lost its autonomy, its freedom. And so then due to this dualistic perception, then we create karma to take birth in samsara. So first the three poisons arise, and then on top of that, there is three more poisons. So we have 6 afflictive emotions, which cause us to wander in the 6 realms of samsara. And as we wander in samsara, we never find any freedom from our suffering. And in this world, everyone suffers. Everyone experiences actual suffering, especially also nowadays. We actually experience great suffering, but still not everyone experiences it in the same way. People experience suffering to varying degrees. And that is due to varying karmas. So there are some people in the world who experience a lot of suffering, especially nowadays. And so why is that? It's because when the afflictive emotions in the mind are very powerful, then one will commit very powerful karma. And if one commits very powerful karma, one will experience powerful suffering as a result. So in brief, it comes down to the relative obscuration, which is an unawareness of the workings of karma, cause and effect. It is to not know the causes of happiness, and therefore one does not create those causes. And it is to not know the causes of suffering, and therefore one doesn't abandon those causes of suffering. So this is what the Buddha meant when he first made this prayer: may all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. So the cause of even the slightest happiness is love and compassion. And the cause of even the slightest suffering is self-grasping, dualistic thinking. And due to that, we do not understand truly karma. And then our actions are mistaken. And as a result, we experience suffering. But still, even though that is the case, we can utilize this knowledge to really think about it. So now in this world, as we have said, not everyone experiences suffering in the same way. So there's different countries in the world. There's a difference in terms of where one lives, or even in one country, for example, one might have a different experience due to like what race one belongs to, and so on. So basically, it is because of us having accumulated a different karma that we experience different levels of result. But once karma is created, its ripening is said to be unfailing. And so there are, for example, those who have accumulated more powerful negative karma. And those people, even though they are born as human beings, many human beings in the world experience suffering just like an animal. So in brief, now when we receive an empowerment, what we are first introduced to is karma, cause and effect. And that's the cause for happiness is bodhicitta. So if you understand karma, you understand that the cause for happiness is love and compassion. And then you understand, if you understand karma, you know that when this self-cherishing attitude becomes subdued, the mind then comes to its naturally pure state, which is like clear water. And then in such a state, you can see the ultimate truth, that actually self and other do not really exist. That mind is like space, and within space, there is no division or duality. And when you realize that, then you attain a state of great bliss that is free from all suffering. And that is something that can be accomplished only through your own mind. Everything is created by your own mind. And likewise, also, all of your suffering is created only by your own mind. So the mind is really most important, which is why the Buddha said, completely tame your own mind. That's most important. The body is not most important. And so when you tame your own mind, you are taming the root of all suffering, which is self-grasping. And if we wouldn't have the teachings of the Buddha, then no matter how much we would try, since beginningless time in samsara, we still have not been able to tame this concept of the self. And so now, through the teachings and understanding karma, we can understand, for example, why we have a particular kind of suffering. It is because I did something. I did it myself with my own self-clinging mind. And from self-grasping, then we develop negative emotions, and then these karmas ripen. And likewise, even the slightest happiness you experience comes from love and compassion. So when we understand karma, we must understand the most subtle workings of karma. The most subtle moment of love leads to the experience of happiness. So then we know that is what we have to develop. That is what we have to gain. It is love and compassion. And so then when you understand karma, you will be unmistaken in your actions on the path. This is also explained, for example, in the 7 verses of Supplication Chittara. And also Jigden Sumgön has spoke about when you gain complete certainty in karma, then only then your Dharma practice will not merely be lip service. So it's important to understand the subtle workings of karma. And so, for example, think in this way: when you experience suffering, why did that happen? I created that myself in the beginning. It's all self-made. I did something, I accumulated karma. And how did I do that? It's because I grasped at a self, and because of that, I am afflicted. So I have created karma. If you understand that, then you see the very root of your suffering. And then you will not blame anybody else for your suffering. And then also you will see that this is the suffering that all beings experience in the world, just to varying degrees, depending on what karma they have accumulated. Not everyone experiences everything exactly in the same way. So this is how we should reflect on karma in the beginning again and again.
이제 다 소소라는 게 내가 그게 가서 줄 쳤다나 그 산지에서 가이는데 저도 쓴 거요. 유망합도 유망합들이 유망지들이 생명마저 강해지다 다 유망발이 유망가니 유망들이 레염대도 상들이 레르랑 독들이 딴다벨리들이 유망합도들이 손주가봐, 먹이가봐, 내주가봐, 내가 손주가 요소 사지에 송머리, 각 쪽에 유망가, 유망을 유튜브에서는 유망 코너를 안 유튜브가 코너를 안 지들 삼바닥 이제 싸웠는데 많이 유망 쪽을 안 지, 대점되는 깜짝이 딱하시는 잡을 미쳐다는 거예요. 그리고 내가 미쳐 무지지는 또 역시 보여 말 저지라서 망고 요 말이 다 맞고 잡고 치고 고소는 다미 파스 도다 요밖에 가시에 되는 제말 다 된다더니 매일 막아라더니 맞춰 참고들이 pero te sei da capo di come te giure te da le cinchebo 이 상황을 간 드리티들 남이게 되는 게 다 매용을 도는데 라는 줄 쳤다는 레드기는 저 지가들이 다 산재 담지들이 저봐 뉴미 제가 누구요래 강도 때를 잡고 봐서 이는 노아를 속도라는 속세들이 노아를 미성스럽게 다 미성스럽게 능가지 당장이 다 되는 산재 요말서 미성스럽게 안 좋게 양산지 담지라 피바다 대화를 레드상을 다 됐다고 산재 저봐 망고 용거요래 terreno dati lo giuma ci vadi certamdi tal la tamsi che to tri phama da dirente jetillo mangiare tele jetillo tropa ta changi bari ta dangoso chami di mudona tani sandiva bami sai jine se già sai mi jetillo ma se già son ta teta senti tantana ma tri privata deva drumla 가래 제거들 진짜 랑상들이 알린가 말이 미지가 세부 줄 내도 되다 뭐 죽지는 않아게 저도 쟤는 저라는 게 세부 줄 저도 다디는 이모 같아 다디데 사주 좀 죽어 담는 라랑 저거요 말이 이 산지 좀 되가 라랑 저거를 말이 거기 잡아 탑에 거기 잡아야지 탑가서 다 사주 좀 뒤는 다다 좀 닦을 거지 다랑게 신진대로 되지게도 거기 되지게도 말이 나는 소도 사족 생기지는 나는 좀 나서는 때리는 답안들이 사족세 촉대 것들 체험해 봐지 양명도 본 뒤로 다다다 다살서 왔다 되지는데 다다다 뒤 레도 제다리 시청 것이나 때리 제토를 따라 갑자기는 사족세 촉하고 뒤쪽들이 제 미망고 시험이 삼나요 제들이 시험이들 매일 이제 저는 노래로 꼬라잖아 다디 맞이바 생活해야요 말이 양을 딱 보시면 양이 성성 가르치는 모든 생活을 나가다 주발 지켜셔야요 말이 대회는들이 따뜻하랑 서로 되다고 새끼 탐지를 비받아 대회 제도 상황 동안 따뜻하다는 다시 계속 가고 지리 이보를 삼내요래 되면 그 조선을 쏘아도 사족선 양선을 사카리는 폐기해야 돼. 그때다 수로만 좀 완전 내기지 뭐라 가졌으면 그냥 까빠 장미반이 되게 좀 봐 장미가 폐기해. 지는 이제 그 송통용진 전에도 봐. 그 장미반이 그래서 다들 쏴도 담탐제지 라 28에 실용성마다 같은 적인 발에서 대상을 말했지. 그래서 송톡 용진 전례의 자신들이 실용성마다 이제 동료에 이제 로종마들한테 파티를 하면 좀 그렇게 자신에서 대서 말이 그래서 다들 송마탐지 예감을 라 용디 트랙이 쳐봐요. 트랙이 잡을 트랙 가려면 실제상지 농민을 더 탑재고 요래 그때는 들이다 로종을 solo 남사람들이 바디는 좀 찾아야 송 스테이지들이 다 로주만한 남살 디바트리 세 로그레지.
So when you listen to the Buddha's instructions, when you hear the Buddha's instructions, you can directly apply them by looking at your own mind stream. So the Buddha also said that there will be those times of 5 degenerations, a degenerate time. But what is actually degenerate is all within the mind. It is a degenerate time because the mind of beings has degenerated. Their afflictive emotions, the 5 afflictive emotions, are much stronger. And then they engage in activity based on very powerful afflictions, and therefore they also experience corresponding results. So in this time of 5 degenerations, it's actually the mind that degenerates and then manifests in the outer world as the natural karmic manifestation of that mind. The Buddha also spoke about there coming an aeon, a kalpa of weapons, a kalpa of famine, and a kalpa of disease. And where does that all come from? It comes from the afflictive emotions in the mind, and only the afflictive emotions in one's own mind. It's negative things like these kalpas happen because sentient beings have lost their love and compassion. It's almost absent in their mind, and they are only afflicted. For example, we can see the destruction that can be caused in the present day compared to how it was in the past. We can really see that nowadays everything is so much more destructive. For example, in the old days, there were not a whole lot of weapons. And so, for example, if a king was angry with someone else, another country or so, then they would fight, maybe throw arrows and spears at each other and so on, and kill a few people, but actually nothing in comparison to how people are murdered nowadays in a war. Nowadays, we are not even speaking about individuals. We're speaking about hundreds and thousands of people who can be killed at the same time. Whole countries can be wiped out all at once. So this can happen because huge things like this happen is because huge karma has been created. And then also great suffering arises as a result of that. So therefore, we have to, understanding karma has to begin with looking at your own mind. And so then the Buddha, all the Buddhas appeared in many myriads of ways in order to tame sentient beings according to their needs. The Buddhas appeared in the forms of all the sentient beings in the 6 realms of samsara, in all the 6 realms. For example, in the 3 lower realms. So somebody might think that, oh, in the lower realms, there's just suffering. There's no Buddha, how can there be? But actually, even in the lower realms, the Buddhas appear in the form of a being in that realm in order to benefit beings there. So Buddha emanations really are a myriad and everywhere. And so today we receive the empowerment of Parnashavari. And so generally speaking, the father and the mother of all the deities are Tara and Chenrezig. And there are limitless manifestations of Tara. For example, in Chamay Raga Asya's prayer of Sukhavati, it says that from the Buddha Amitabha's right hand, 100 million Chenrezigs emanate, and from his left hand, 100 million Taras emanate. basically, actually, there are as many emanations as there are sentient beings and that emanate in order to benefit sentient beings. And so how do they benefit sentient beings? It's not that they just go there and pick them up, right, just like that, but it's by introducing them to karma and helping them see that the root cause of their suffering is their own self-grasping and their own afflictive emotions. So really how they benefit beings is by showing them how to liberate themselves. So really you have to liberate yourself through bodhicitta. The Buddha himself had said, I can only show you the method that leads to liberation, but liberation depends on yourself. You have to liberate yourself. And how do you liberate yourself? It is by cultivating bodhicitta. So what is then the main thing that we need to do when we cultivate bodhicitta? The main point here is that we have to look inward instead of at other people. So we are not looking at other beings thinking, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that. No, we're looking at our own mind, our own practice. I have to practice. I have to cultivate bodhicitta. From the bottom of my heart, I have to cultivate the four immeasurables over and over again. I have to practice the deity and supplicate to the deity. And so if you develop great trust in karma, then you really will have a commitment in your mind. And through this commitment, bodhicitta will arise naturally. So now we think that many people are dying in this world. And actually, it is just their bodies. When the body comes to an end, when the body perishes, then the mind still continues on to wander in the 6 grams of samsara. And it will continue to do that for as long as self-grasping exists. The mind will not perish. The mind goes on to anywhere, either the lower realms or the pure lands. But the mind is like space, and therefore it cannot die. So this is how also I myself think. So when we think about how to benefit all sentient beings now. So to benefit beings, so we might think that there is an antidote for each affliction and so on. For each issue, there's an antidote that we need to reflect on. Or for example, we think that we have to supplicate to the 3 jewels. But actually, as long as you cultivate a mind of bodhicitta, then whatever you practice, whatever deity you practice, will become beneficial to sentient beings. And so, however, because nowadays there was a request to, since even though all deities are the same, there was a wish to receive Parnashavari empowerment, since it is said that this goddess is an antidote to disease, curing disease. And so Parnashavari is also an emanation of Tara. And Tara has appeared in limitless ways throughout limitless kalpas. And the deity possesses the qualities of enlightened body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities. And emanations of these 5 are also limitless. And that is a quality of all the wisdom deities, all the yidams. So some people think that a deity, a yidam deity is a wisdom being, but then the Dharma palas, the Dharma protectors, are just worldly beings. But that's not true actually, because so the deity possesses body, speech, enlightened body, speech, mind, activities, and qualities. So the Dharma protectors actually are an aspect of the deity's enlightened activities. And so in the case of Parnashavari, she is said to be an emanation, and again, emanation servant of Sri Devi or Palden Lamo. and as such is also a protective deity, representing, embodying the enlightened activity of the yidams. And so then what are they supposed to do? What are they doing with their enlightened activities? They engage in methods. They try to liberate all sentient beings from suffering. And so there is a story about Parnashavari. And in the story, it also mentions that she's an emanation of Sri Devi Abardin-Lamo. And so in any case, I will read the short history that goes along with the Parnashavari empowerment.
Roma Jisana Yende Slabon Limi Kumu number Namzere Prepa Partin Hamo Ponyo Jackie Conte Jue Fladan Lebjeso injection crew Kine the Majek Pan Chuja Jasu Songse Songbe Fladan Devje Kunji Chujen Japsum Dene Samu Lamoni, Dengen Yok, Dengen Jok, Shakam Doctor, Mangua Sanje Party Noverichi, Noverichi, the Longti, Top, Lower, Kroger, there's a song, Chitty, Retu Nagana Shimmer to Save Roma June Pakbam Pampazong Debe Ramo Roma Chitter Tra Zong de Ju Zong de Saju Pemereke Kani Tomo Tomoja Jungcher Java so Jude Kunle She Sambatre Doctor Tamji Shiva Tang Menam Tamji Menam Tamji Kozi Ba Parnashavari Sa Nam Georgi Gombar Sa Sumbi Mudukunzuk Jule Trashikunja Dapo Se Luchi Kunji Jason Jur Saba Maton Pardon Jacqueline Kunla Party Sirs Sumbe Tindi Jibari Tindi Logi Hatang Mambo Ramira Mambo Yore Three parties of the June I say Yena Yuna Mina Tirisamo Jutam Yang show Yore Rita Jiti Roman I'm sorry Jiti Roma 17 to Uchi Balatini Fire Tom Yellow among the pep Yore. The penalty with the maze of Kitty, the young did you consider Tang Mango, the young safety the tongue said me charge on the Gary something at the maturity and Damita Tangi and Jumbi, 11 cities on Separatini, Kongawa, Tanchiami Battery, Tegitini, Tatokita, Sanjitini, Sanjik long, young Tatok Sanjay warrior, Sanjik Tong say, young Tatok, Tata Sanji, the long tops of Petitavare, the Toa Jitin Romare, Madebare, some Jutamti Jitin comes to Topare, and a couple of Judaman among Potesam, the Usain, your Tropomelsoni, tell your Don't policy, Judy, Jedi Roman Madeva race. Don't now Munisiana, Trisha J. or Mari, Yemiante, Negatri, Numama, Jade, Lopanti Master, Nicoteta, Chavateta, Nivola, Ladi, there's Santos, Shokchi, Ladi, the Dadi in the Chadochi, and Jade, then no Chado, Nicoti, Joastos, 100 Madabari, Tanti Lejo, no Rang Lejo, they don't sort it and we were don't donate on the Dadi and human with Juarez, then they go say, Jimmy. That's the old day, not people at the lot of job songs, nobody in jail chair songs. Nobody around the late, and we are aging with the late song gonna, but the Nasa of Jam is such a chair go, me took to Jago or Tenergy. The need the late Changi, this mercy what them or push it, that is the so announce it about, oh, don't need the late Changi or spend out the domain, double the late Changi or less up potential less Changi or is. Let the sun go. Let the sun touch up. Said the single book on young mangoes had the toya or rest and some blue over it. Tell what you got it. The top and jetta, potom di teenager chasele son, motam di room chasele son, Teta was so automatically, so I used to take coming at the top near us, chapel or it.
And this empowerment comes from the 50 Drikung Kagyu empowerments, and it is number 17. So number 17 is the brief empowerment of Parnashavari, the goddess dressed in leaves. And so this is the history. And this goddess is a servant to Sri Devi, or Balde Lamo, who emanated from wrathful Vairocana. When she traveled throughout all the world, the 8 classes of gods and spirits were terrified and ran away. So Avalokiteshvara said, "Do not be afraid, make offerings to her and go for refuge in her." Thus, the 8 classes of gods and spirits all made offerings to her and took refuge in her. Then the goddess entered Samadhi, and she received the prophecy that in the future, in the pure method Buddha realm, she would become the Buddha glorious jeweled gem. Then she traveled to the 6 realms of samsara and taught the Dharma there. When staying at the Radiant Joy Mountain Hermitage, she wore the leaves of the wilderness tree and recited the Dharani of noble Ajita. Thus she became known as a Parnashavari, the goddess dressed in leaves. According to the Net of Illusion and many other tantras, this Dharani belongs to the Kriya Yoga class, and the goddess is the wrathful servant of the Lotus family. The Sambhuti Tantra says, "She who pacifies all unruly ones and destroys all illnesses is called Parnashavari. Yogic practitioners should practice her. There are limitless benefits to her practice, including protection against all contagious disease." The revelation of Siddhi's Tantra says, "The mistress of all auspiciousness is the refuge for all those with bodies. Until samsaric existence is emptied, there will be no obstacles in the world." So that was the history, the short history, and there are many different histories. There are also longer ones. And so the history is most likely related to the Sri Devi Tantra. And so in any case, what's most important to understand about her is that, as I always say, all deities of the female class really are emanations of Tara. And Tara appears in many ways to benefit sentient beings. She appears in the god realm or in the human realm as a human being. For example, appearing as a human being, she also then, those emanations then also undergo many hardships, the hardships of the humans. And they still continue to act for the benefit of sentient beings. And then, for example, they might appear as a spiritual teacher to the humans. And so then, due to the human world, they run into all sorts of difficulties there. And still they do not grow tired of it, and they continue to tirelessly act for the benefit of sentient beings. And knowing that ultimately these sentient beings can become Buddhas, can become enlightened. So this is who she really is, Parnashavari. She really mainly is a deity that is one with Tara, and so are all the female deities. And then all of these deities have different stories, temporary at relative level, but ultimately really they are emanations of Tara. So temporarily they have different stories because they appear, for example, in the human world, and then they have different stories that happened in their lifetimes in the human world, for example. But they all trace back to Tara. And likewise, for example, we often speak about gods and demons. Actually, ultimately, there are no gods and demons. It is just something that we temporarily create in our own mind with our own afflictive emotions. So we think that there's something that's causing harm in the world, and that is what we call like demonic or a demon. But basically what a demon really is the afflictive emotion within one's mind, the corrupt or distorted intentions in one's mind. And then the opposite of that is a deity, so we call, or a god. So we often label those individuals who have a strong bodhicitta, we call them like God, like divine beings. And then those who are very selfish, we call them demonic beings. But this is just how it appears temporarily. Ultimately, there really are no gods and demons. It's something that constantly changes, also due to whatever karma we create. So really, it's all a creation of our own mind. A demon is the creation of our own self-grasping, our afflictive emotions. And so then sometimes, due to the various outer conditions that arise, it appears to us as though, something good happened, so it's because of the deity. The deity made this happen. The deity made this good thing happen. And if something bad happens, we think that, this was caused by a demon. This must have been something evil that did that. But actually, all the harm that happens, we shouldn't even label it evil, because it's also a good thing, because any suffering purifies our negative karma. It's like if you have a very severe disease, a sickness, sometimes you have to also undergo very severe medical treatment, like have to do a surgery or have to take very strong medicine in order to heal. And so similarly, the suffering is what purifies the negative karma. So that is what we are also introduced to in the secret mantra. And so we should apply that to our own experience and our own suffering, and also see that all the suffering that the people now experience in the world is all a purification of negative karma. All that karma that was accumulated with afflictive emotions. And ultimately, whenever all that karma has become purified, what remains always is Buddha nature. So therefore, know that in the future, all of these beings can attain Buddhahood. So it's important that you relax your mind a bit. And so again, whatever sadhana deity we practice, all the male classes of deities are an aspect of Chenrezig, and all the female deities are an aspect of Tara. So if you practice the deity, supplicate to the deity on the basis of such an understanding, then no matter what deity you practice, the signs of accomplishments will be swift, and blessings will be great.
그래서 나서 또 가서 감대 왕을 토마 여기 잡아주고 가서 그래서 도지에서 도지에서 바꿨네. 그 싸우마 이렇게 또 싸우마 나가서 같이 왔다 왔다. 이 진행이 나가래서랑 저도 도지에서 말을 해더니 다시 주문하더니 린데들이 다다 레당 유무 맞다는 제스를 서도 그 강들 들이 개인 관계 원도 진짜 걸로 나를 뛰는 그리고 바바가 탐실이 들이 다소 자기 양자형도 공 보여해 대회는 왕을 갖다 토마토 건들이 이제 도지서 바람 거들들 좀 보면 되게 들이 하장 팽이 오래들이 얘기 잡아 따라서
And so, especially now where there is much suffering and disease, now in the beginning, of the empowerment, we're going to recite the 100-syllable Vajrasattva mantra. And so for that, visualize a Vajrasattva above your crown and visualize your central channel going through your body. And think that it is open like this bell at your crown. And above your crown is Vajrasattva. And from him, a stream of blessings descends down and enters the central channel and then pervades your entire body. And think that this nectar washes away, cleanses all the impurities in your body and all negative karma, the 36 impure substances of your body, all the garbage is being purified. And think that the nectar pervades the 5 chakras and each and every channel of your body until it reaches each and every pore of your skin. And in this way, think that all negativity has become purified. So meditate on this continuously. So this is how we should meditate in the beginning of the empowerment and also thereafter. It's very beneficial to visualize this, meditate on this continuously, visualizing the Buddha, Vajrasattva above your crown and so forth. So now we continue with the recitation of the 100-syllable mantra.
Om Beda Sato Samaya Emane Bhavaya Beda Sato Tenu Yudhane Dome Bhava Sota Kayo Meva Supe Chayo Me Bhava Ana Dome Bhava Savadita Me Bhayi Savadama Sadame Atatanji Yankurohom Aha Ho Bhagavena Savadata Bedama Mekata Beda Bhava Samaya Salo Savadata Abhikeka de Samaya Shriye Hom Abhiketa de Hom Bayo Mama Zoba Shada Wang to Manya de Jor Tomana Obusor Moja Ne Jajuna Oma Ho the Jora Zon Toma Taki Toba Batawa Deva Chibaji Manaka and Yambara Magar Mana de Vena de Zoma on Bezo Umagar Mazwana didn't Vena Uma home Bezo Umagar Matavan I didn't Vena de Zoma Bezo did it Manishima Solo the was so did the good job later sometimes the one to what took it on the some low on you to Mojo. The one I got out of the no man of the Tela Toma Masai, the young never so much was a Jimison, to what they did. Shoot to Jim Tashi Yada, the Matabatu, the Bola, what they can be at some day. So Jim, you can man, so the them, Brother Lapirona. Gina Nibama, the Jom, Jima, John, Galabe, Lama, Netta, the Soto. Don't do another nether the song, but the Southern Dana Baya, Dana Baya, Hoban Baya, Ron 이게 상황이 뭐도 맞지. 서로 저서 통계대 적정 봐봐서 어떤 남자도 이거는 되었는데 러비 오동제도 사실 오셔서 나도지 도지 잡아지 못하고 되다가 받아도 도지 나의 저 서로 도지 잡아서 서로 이 시제 매번 방송에 봐서 뭐저도 맞죠. 와서 걸로 이제 자주 와줘. 엄마들은 배자 바와 배자 벤다 배자 딱하라가 비자라 배자라 샤라도라 좀 성좀 엄마들도 안하나가 뭐들이 남가다니면 생긴 정책이 동화를 싸들이 다디는 맞아 요바요 말이 대련들이 항상 소소가 다디지 등나 이 가서 생기지 다디 뒤에 들이서는 저기 나비 생기 장매바 되는 생기 답지 들이 상상성면 잡을 거 요상들이다 무슨 메다 뭐래지
The root of suffering of all sentient beings, limitless as space, is self-grasping. And there is not a single affliction that doesn't arise from self-grasping. So bring to mind your own self-grasping and then the self-grasping of all sentient beings, bring it all into one and think that you are offering it up to the Buddha's abiding in space, along with the entire outer universe. So the entire universe and all beings are made an offering. So think that now I am making outer, inner, and a secret mandala offering.
저런 콩 같은 거 그걸 참는 요요면 조심을 봐라 다 무슨 요요 삼에 들지 정도면 한번 보래지.
And the offering is made to the innate union of the Dharmakaya and Sambhogakaya, which pervade all of space at all times. And so for this reason, the moment we think of them, we bring the deity to mind, they're already here in the space before us, because actually they are here continuously, always all pervasive. But to bring this to mind, we supplicate them and we offer a mandala to them.
In the Yellow Prayer Book on page 7, an infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping, completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and concepts of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Devada Kini Radha Mandala Bhakti Soha.
조정만 가는 눈이다. 라는 것들이 다왕조요서 이제라 자선도 와서 심지가 통치 주자와데 빠지듯이 오래지.
So think that I'm receiving this empowerment from the field of refuge, which the deity is abiding in space before me. And because it is the root of the Dharma, we first take refuge and we cultivate bodhicitta, which are recitations that we are going to repeat.
군지 이시 통보진 Sipe Koro Nam Jongwa Tering Sipe Rinpoche Towo Dala Garchen so.
And then in English, embodiment of omniscient wisdom, who utterly purifies the wheel of existence through your kindness, please grant me the principal deity of the precious treasury you are setting forth today.
Mege so ja rowe gela ji rang sang je zhang che yi ji zong sang je zhu dang chong chong la zhang che par de da jiang ji rang ji dong ni rab zheng se sang je sem ne ji bar je sang je chou ge sem ne ji ji ne sem ji tam ji da gi gong de ye sang je zhong chou yi yong jie bar ji ruo la pin se sang jie re bar zhou.
In English, I take refuge in the three jewels. I confess all misdeeds and non-virtues. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings and hold the Buddha's awakening in mind. Until attaining awakening, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly in order to fully accomplish the purpose of others and myself. I give rise to bodhicitta, having given rise to the mind of supreme awakening. I welcome all beings. I will engage in the supreme bodhisattva conduct that is pleasing to all. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
내 왕자는 서운도 다 산축하는 거 대신 왕거지 저 토만으로 산축하는데 왕은 힘보 산축하는 것에 참 영당 영접인 거였어.
The very seed essence of even 100 empowerments, of all empowerments, is bodhicitta. And this is how we first begin the empowerment. It's with bodhicitta. So over and over, again and again, bring this to mind. The essence of the empowerment is bodhicitta. And if bodhicitta is present within your mind, then just naturally, you should know that naturally whatever you do becomes excellent conduct. Master, please heed me. Please bestow upon me the empowerment of body, speech, and mind of the Bhagavati Parnashavari.
in Pengu, some rote, Jima Tadani, Latin doctrine, the Latin Museum we already, Cheparmi by some dating books on Jotin and Jenna. Them teach him body, Tawan Zan to that.
So now cultivate this wish of wanting to, I want to benefit sentient beings. And then the moment this wish arises in your mind, think of the form of the deity. And that then is the actual deity. There's no difference between what arises and the deity. So that's also because bodhicitta is connected to your Buddha nature. So this really is, that's very important. And this is really the essence, the root of the empowerment.
Doje, Zumba, Hongsa, Zor, Dane, Rola, Heidunta, Dochi, Chula, Dondepji, Chaji, Yishi, Jidozo.
Vajra holder, please heed me for the benefit of beings. I supplicate you, exalted one, please cause the mudra of wisdom to arise.
Chu Roma Joma Zaja Zang Gumdo Jang He Yun Na Guo Ye Karwa Sa Ye Song Dorje Daza Da Yun Song Yaga Ye Zeng Zeng Song Jebe Shawa Nama Sha Cho Xing Jebe Lang So Yun Ba Chengwa Zeng Xing大概我们现在多就这成就这些吧，那当中他们这下去，那帮从这个主北京，我们这边个找我们那把嘛不，你看红不得什么那个是呗，其实不错，你这什么都这样，看吧吧的什么呢？是这么我这。我们家呢，哎呀，那个他们这小子们小人多，哎呀，们家哪有啥呀？这座谁嘛没希望在你上中嘛，他就把怎么样就点把是慢慢把它点把就地上面子，老人样说不就这个从就是叫我后来就嘛，我跟老人啊也没是就是把这什么。我这这么老远了嘛，人家我经常别的不帮着的做啊，我别的不帮着的做， Ombeda alogam rada da zo ombeda ngede rada da ombeda nerede rada da zo do je ne saje lo lo jo be jo yongde yongde je da 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 so je so mo jo so de be jo ra no no go ma je san jo so ba na lo ta hi jo san jo so ma na jo do je le le to ma na jo ge de to na jo so jo 我也不知道，我们叫我们这时候都在叫去把地老子把这个我也没说搞个老子上，你不把搞个大就成就了，这这有个都在有我做什么，我都结包呢呀，看上包呀啥结婚叫啥弄的，那那时候就马上我们说话到个到阿别去搞点什么。 现在也这甚至就长大年被这种东西，什么人弄的这里甚至人就到网过的这种做这里头就刚松上，这么把这些都中国人的。
I think that emanation of Tara appears as at the crown of each sentient beings. So as many emanations as there are sentient beings, holding a vase in her hand and pouring down the empowerment nectar into the crowns of each sentient being. And then the nectar fills up their bodies and they become purified. So focus on this visualization single-pointedly.
내가 왕고에 더티 주주를 담겨간 저만도 다 제가 막 있는 지라니 그렇게 다 보자는 게 제다 어서 보자 저거 오지 저거 사원이 저거 왕가라요 그러지 마 저는 좀 밤에 보았는데서 뭐도 또 뭔가 저런 원도 저저 저거 뭐 소집이 맞아봐 남들 생각 완전히 제가 다시 당보 저기 보는 거 저 대달 이선나에 리저고네 사바트마 박차선 제도 제바 다 거기서 너무 많이 봐서 리라이런지 제 리라이 제는 나동 성적이랑 지금 봐라 왕 내가 저거서 뭐 까바지도 세봐요 너
Being thus initiated, the karmic imprints and defilements accumulated with the body and all grasping at them are purified, and you have received the complete form empowerment. You are now empowered to practice the generation stage of visualizing your body as the deity, the union of appearance and emptiness. As a result, you will have the fortune to accomplish the Nirmanakaya.
책송대 제사동 나동 자초다의 차송도 때 양정용의 책잡참 무겁네 이거는 이제 왔다 그거니 진이 지마 처벌하더니 참 발실랑을 매와는 게 좋아 제들이 제대로 사람되고 요래.
So during the form empowerment of the deity, I think that the moment the deity's form comes to your mind, instantly think that your body is burned away. It disappears just like a pile of wood is being burned away by fire. And think that your body then becomes clear and empty, or appearing and empty, just like a rainbow. So visualize this over and over again, hundreds of times. Every time you visualize this, you are purifying obscurations. And then once you have become habituated to it, later on, it will appear to you even as though you have no more physical body. And that's the time when the blessings will actually enter you. So when you visualize the deity clearly but empty of self-nature, like a rainbow. Within that nature, actually disease and evil spirits and obstacles and afflictive emotions do not exist. They have no dwelling place in a rainbow-like body. So therefore, visualize it over and over again. When you practice the generation stage, you should visualize again and again your body as like a rainbow-like body.
So go je nanga do so wa de man de je do je zhen ba gong so da ne do la ping dong de na ji wang ge yi xi che mu zhe de wa ba la so.
Vajra holder, please heed me for the benefit of beings. Please grant me the great wisdom of the mantra empowerment, which is the source of all accomplishments.
다 로고를 저거 남생 나한테 소위 밤송을 이제 땀 되는 저거를 밖에 다 소위가 다르지 마 엄배셨다만 샤워를 사도록 상만하도 되는 소보지 않니 나 그전 저들이 나까지 나를 이제 차봐봐나지 밥도 그럴 때 나게 지지가 다가 가면서니 따뜻한 거 살아들이 꼬라져 그 요자들이 slaatje maatje jeba senen na ko gonne pimche bare te jeba gongore ete.
So then think that from the Vajra master's heart, the mantra garland emanates, and so actually the seed syllable of this deity is Bam. But actually probably it's also okay if you visualize the Dam syllable. So think that the mantra garland comes to circle around the seed syllable. So the mantra Om Pishatsi Parnashavari Sava Mari Prasha Manihung. So think that the mantra then continuously circles around the Dam at your heart. So first think that it emerges in a form of light from the mouth of the Vajra master, and then it also it showers down like rain falling down in a form of mantra syllables. And then when you repeat the mantra, when you say the mantra, think that now you have received the mantra garland, which begins to circle around the Dam syllable at your heart. And so then it's important to continue to visualize and meditate on the mantra circle.
로봇한테 저는 살아서 로봇에서 상황을 이제 발레 마음에 저는 임시제도 도서 남편 상황을 이제 와서 잘내죠. 저걸 남편 상황을 이제 봐라 등 저를 쳐져버려서 말이지만 매번도 마대에 제대로 온 배샤제 반에 샤와르 샤와 조라 자샤마나 조하 온배샤즈 판나샤와르 사와좌라 자샤마나 소하 온배샤즈 반에 샤와르 사와좌라 자샤마나 소하 좀디 나라 잘라지 나라 고월 내도서 좀데 달라달라지 달라 고월도서 가지고 그렇다면 저 욕되면 내도 좀 차려도 만 돼도 온수 자체 상배자여서 디니 어디 매처럼 매워 저는 다질하다 매죠 봐 진짜 뭐 찍는 거지 저는 이제 제가 다시 니 봐오 스트레스 모두 도부에 당들어들 요 근데 나도 소식 수업들이 만으로라는 또 다다 나한테는 강청아 되어서 네디 일단 나게 걸 받쳐줘지 리걸 받쳐줘지 라이프 거치만 나걸 받쳐줘지 나자 이제 봐
So here at this point is the time when we should drink the nectar. So for that, now you can eat a money pill, a blessing pill that you have. And then just continue to think that the mantra circle, the string is there. So visualize the mantra string. And so then now the visualization of the deity's form is what purifies the karmic imprints of the body. And the sound of the deity's mantra purifies the karmic imprints of the speech. So that mainly is our fixation, our grasping at sound and speech.
차당 똑바가들이 남도만 보다 보차 요거리 그때는 하나님 잡아지다 왕tor 팔장이요리 심한 요거 체들이 수아전심에 버텨주는 나전심에 버당 다고저지 가서 봐장 지 심한 동성 대개지와 동대레스
So it is because it is on the basis of our body and speech that we develop many thoughts of attachment and aversion. And this endless chain of thoughts is what places these karmic imprints into our mind. And so through receiving the empowerment, we are purifying all of these previously accumulated negativities and also prevent them from further arising in the future. So this is why it is important to continuously visualize the deity and recite the deity's mantra. In this way, then all previously accumulated negativities are purified and are prevented from arising in the future. So this is the important point here. Being thus initiated, the karmic imprints and defilements accumulated with the speech and all grasping at them are purified, and you have received the complete speech empowerment. You are now empowered to recite the deity's secret mantra, the union of sound and emptiness. As a result, you will have the fortune to accomplish the Sambhogakaya.
도제 zemba gongso 다음에 오라 팽동더 바오 도제 좁부지 롬조 등제 지도소.
And then in order to receive the mind empowerment, please repeat the following. Vajra holder, please heed me for the benefit of beings. Courageous Vajra master, please cause the samadhi of the supreme mind to arise.
가서 돌로 만들어 오늘 단통부에 이런 많이 tutorial 많은 분들이 홍유지
So if you have a money pill, now is the time to eat it, to take one, and think that inside of that pill is a Hung syllable.
로봇사서 어떡하네. 저거 성원을 저는 내지라야 저가 보고 내지라야 저주거니 내지라야 내선 밥을 보가다 이제 마당에 나서 라도와나 항상 성원 선택제 남아서 받으면 좀 나서 얼마나 있으면 준비 지난 건들과 있음당 항사를 둘로만 좀 먹고서 또 예미에 좀 봐말라 부모님이 다 지정에 대한 말조도 이제 semplice parliamo tanto da hong de tenere da che da sa sangue su hong tenere sale so io le io na tenere semplice da tenere anche pieci da io mi va in tamna prima da lo ha ba cha de der na ha de ba song chare so io le pena chota ma sceglio per manna lo parla ji sceglio per manna lo gana 드레스를 똑같이 차나 쳐던 제와 연구요 말에 빼다가 피시대 피시 semplice다 말은 드레스는 접토요 말에 로브도 좀 하지 드레스한테 답체 받이게 이제 홍보 좀 보시에 차례다 답체 들이 나도 강연하서 홍비는 나도 직장에서 쓴 당사리 노요에 들이 철 정전이 하정들이 이가 전부 망고요 때 파사야 되니 홍피자는 싸서 양쌀 사고요래 저가 사고요 쌀 사고요래 그 생들을 만데 들고 잡서 참
So now, in order to purify the obscurations of the mind, meditate on the syllable Hung. And so generally, even though all the deities have their own seed syllable, the Hung syllable is really a seed syllable, like the life force of all the deities. And so focus on that single pointedly, and then it becomes indivisible from your own mindfulness. And if you're able to sustain such mindfulness, then, as you mentioned before, the karmic imprints of body and speech and mind all become purified. So it is then your body, then you become just like a crystal vase that is filled with pure water. So if the crystal vase is pure inside, then and you fill it with pure water, then even if the outside of the vase becomes a little bit stained, the stains cannot really directly connect to the water anyways. So if you do not separate from mindfulness, your mind cannot become obscured. That is why we speak about those temporary or adventitious obscurations. And so the Buddha gave many skillful means to purify these obscurations. And one of them is to visualize the Hung syllable, which I have mentioned to you many times. So whenever a thought arises in the mind, instantly think of Hung. And the Hung then completely disperses all thoughts. And then there is no thought. The mind is completely empty. And then there is no obscuration. So there are many opportunities, many ways to accumulate obscurations. So there are many kind of dangerous circumstances that obscure the mind very easily. The mind becomes obscured very easily. So it's very easy for these imprints to enter the mind, but likewise, it's just as easy to clear them away, to purify them all. So now everyone meditate.
왕탐제의 인본들이 지금 말하는 바람들이 그밖에 소들과 세왕지 Rally Sagar Toma Nagawang, Little Salapager, Mata Toba Hujuri, Martin, Tata Pachandri, Satin, Slag Pachari, the Pachati Tano, the same day, the Robador Jobato Ansam, the Tanti 7 day long to Chedere, Sembury, Young Sembla, the Chilatu, Tontalabare. 직장팀 랑스를 쳤다고 랑스를 다고 랑스를 쳤대는 랑 일기도 체로래 갑자기 직장님의 샘 동반 남하다고 쳤대 딱을 랑스를 따고 샘을 때 나도 직장요 말이 뒤타 조대 사실부터 샘 이제리 대식이 보면서 사실 타제 타와 생기는 사제이죠 샘과 이제리 사제리 로로 나도 다니지 제가 오늘 따라서 샘을 따고当这上上这的这是北边同我们也说，那个什么大国上，我们刚刚买着，他什么大子。
And this is the essence of all empowerments. Milarepa had said that the outer empowerment is when the empowerment vase is placed onto your crown. The inner empowerment is when you visualize your body in the form of the deity. So this is when you think of the deity, you actually become the deity. So it's really the thought, that the mind that changes. You see yourself as the deity. So basically, if you think me, if you think I, then you place that imprint in the mind, and that is what you perceive. But if you think of the deity, then all that appears is the deity. And that purifies this karmic imprint of grasping at the I, the me. And then Milarepa said the ultimate empowerment is when you recognize, when you actualize the true ultimate nature of the mind, the natural state. And actually, it's all for that sake. All of the entire empowerment, all practice is just for that sake, in order to realize the true nature of your mind. Tilopa had said, without a single thought, look decisively at the ultimate nature. So think about nothing and look at your mind. And then just naturally thinking stops. Then there is no thoughts in your mind. When there are no thoughts in your mind, the mind becomes like empty space. And then always continue to do that. Continue to look at the mind. So you always should have this feeling of, I have to look at my mind. And then when you look at the mind, there is nothing there like space. And when you decide upon that, when you gain certainty in that, you have seen the view of Mahamudra, which is Buddha nature. And also already the Buddha had decided that. He said that all beings are actually Buddhas. So the basis of their mind, their fundamental nature, is actually Buddha. And it's just that thoughts appear momentarily. So look at your mind right now, and in a very direct way, without a single thought. You decisively and directly look at your mind. Don't give it any name, no concepts, don't label it anything. Just look directly at the mind now.
much in the Vertachi so rather but given told you to run was like in the body and then you think about that is somehow. That you from the within the show the dotted numbers are so that are yes and now you born as a way. Drama, Pachat, and I gave a top, took it just now, my river top. Same right, took it on this, a song, you about one. Give it to go to Bakabachi to say by
Being thus initiated, the karmic imprints and defilements accumulated with the mind and all grasping at them are purified, and you have received the complete mind empowerment. You are now empowered to meditate on the nature of the deity's mind, the union of clarity and emptiness. As a result, you will have the fortune to accomplish the Dharmakaya.
Guangzhou Tangzhe song, Guangzhou Tangzhe the coming later, Tangzhe Chibadele, they also talk about Tangzhe Kasimori, Sambata and Gigi, Jubasum, Sambata and Gigi, Umatavare, they didn't look so local, no, looks like it. Certain do the war, certain do the certain Zubachable, Chargy Yomari, Pingu Yomari, the Santos of the Kachibo, Nekam Tori, Tatok Sanje, Pomato, just in the Sanje of the Nimdare, the Santos Doroboche, the Gizum, the one drop so the Roman authority. One tongue young, the just I took some with the terrible one detaching that that is a walk up your very to Sancho Secretary, the to Gonjaya, or number Sancho Center, Gonjashi, what I'm just silent about Gon. Good dog with them to some much changing in shape about Gon. There is Salatam to sort of the totally one daughter, you know, don't take a dog or one drop song to the number.
And so then in order to stabilize these blessings, it is said one should guard the Samaya, which is the life force of the empowerment. And so on a relative level, there are some who consider the relative level as more important. And so on the relative level, for us, this is important, which is we first need to cultivate love, compassion, and patience. So for us, like ordinary beings, this is most important. Love and compassion are like milk, and patience is like the vessel that you pour the milk in. So the vessel has to be a golden vessel. A golden vessel cannot break easily, and it cannot become damaged easily. So just like this is how it is when you have patience. So to summarize it, it is bodhicitta. That's most important. And that is the only cause of birth in the higher realms temporarily and of ultimately attaining enlightenment. Bodhicitta is like the heart of all the Buddhas of the three times. So therefore, as our Samaya, we will repeat the precious bodhicitta, a prayer. And that is really what you should practice. That is what you should keep as the Samaya, like your life force. So for you disciples who receive many empowerments, that's really what is most important. It is because we receive many empowerment that we have to know how to bring them all into one single essence. Because often we get sidetracked and people think that, oh, there is this Samaya for this empowerment and that Samaya for that empowerment and so forth. But nowadays we don't really have the opportunity to practice each and every specific Samaya because what's most important is the Samaya of bodhicitta on the relative level. On the ultimate level, if you know meditation, then it means to meditate with mindfulness, to rest in a state of Mahamudra. So on the relative level, the Samaya is bodhicitta, immeasurable love. That is the root, the life force of the samaya, of the empowerment. That's what is most important. So even though you might have received many empowerments or practices, you have to know how to gather them all into this one single essence. So Dharma friends, this completes the empowerment.
Sanjo, Sanjo, Rinpoche, Maje, Bana, Jeje, Jeba, Nyamba, Meba, Yang, Hongre, Abonde, Bewa, Yo. Roma, the top, the Japan boy, or the test of the new water, the Roma Jabima, the Roma Jabima, why long, just that one, the Roma Tapsi, the Jabima, the Chevy Baron, the Judah send the young the take each of your head. There is a Mamma said, related to some to the children, what I should
And so, and there is this Tara practice, and so even if there are hundreds of different forms and of Tara and Samayas, the essence is in the 7 verses of supplication to Tara. So therefore, you should really gain a good understanding of these 7 verses and keep those 7 verses really as your Samaya by practicing and reading it on an ongoing basis. Because this is really a prayer that shows how Tara, the deity, really is always together with you in your mind. So it's very important. And now in the end, we will together recite dedication prayers. Many Dashi Teleg, my Dharma friends.
Dedication on the prayer book, page 18. Great Vajradhara, Talopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dharma Lord Gampopa, Pagmodrupa, and Lord Drikung. May the auspiciousness of the Kagyu Lamas prevail. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious, kind root and lineage gurus, divine assembly of Yidams, assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, here Yogini and her assembly of Dakinis, all of you dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the affliction of attachment, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, respect, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. And may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. At the moment of death, may I not experience the suffering of being abruptly severed from this life. May I not suffer terrible death. May I not die confused by wrong views. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind itself and in the crystal clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. For this realm encircled by snow-covered mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. Tenzin Gyatso, Lord Chenrezi, may you remain steadfast until the end of samsara. Embodiment of the 3 jewels. Great being who upholds and increases the teachings of the Shakya Lion. Supreme are your activities of guiding others with your perfect deeds. May you, the precious Guru who accomplishes everything spontaneously, live long. Holder of the teachings of the Lord Drikung, great Lord of the 3 jewels, through the power of your peerless compassion and the holy Dharma's peace and light, you bring relief to beings. May your life be long. The one known in the noble land as Aryadeva, emanated into the Gar clan of eastern Tibet as Chodingpa, the heart son of Jigten Gompo. May the life of glorious Garchen remain steadfast for 100 eons. Crown of the Shakyas, kind friend to strangers, the 17 great Panditas, Tilopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Gampopa, Tiktan Songun, and their lineage heirs, please bestow good fortune and auspiciousness. Protector Amitayus, transcendent Lord who grants supreme life, everlasting, stable, and unchanging, and who diverts from untimely death anyone who merely hears your name or thinks of you, please bestow good fortune and auspiciousness. Living austerely in the higher training of discipline, full of compassion, that is the glory of those to be tamed, devoid of all grasping, never parting from Mahamudra's natural state. Naden Tempe Nima, son of the teachings, may your life remain firm. May the teachings of the great Drikung Parnashavari, master of interdependence, omniscient Lord of Dharma, who has seen all knowable things, be upheld until the end of cyclic existence through study, practice, hearing, contemplation, and meditation. Your 1,000 arms are the 1,000 wheel-turning kings. Your 1,000 eyes are the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate eon. Your love is boundless like space. I supplicate to the Bodhisattva Chenrezi. Om Mani Padme Hum.
Mani Padme Hum Re. Om Mani Padme Hum Re. Om Mani Padme Rinpoche, Toche,